Okay everybody, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. And today we're going to look at, I guess the second tier to the highest end of the Rosewill power supply family. And this is a new model called the PMG 1050. It's a fully modular power supply and it's an 80 plus gold with a 5-year warranty. Now, what I want to do today is I just want to take a look at it, find out what it comes with so you guys know what it comes with. It's kind of hard to really do a full-on review of the power supply other than I can tell you later on in comments below if you ask what I thought about it in a system. But right now we're going to do an unboxing so you know when you buy this power supply what it looks like, what connectors it has, and what is included. I built this nice little fancy pedestal wrapped with the same material I use on my standing desk so that if I want to do little spinnies and stuff I can. So anyway, don't mind if it moves a little. Alright, right off the bat, of course, we're greeted with the installation replacing PSU system blah 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 manual, which is very simple. Tells you basically if you go down to what power supply you have, for example the 1050. There is actually a 1200. I did not know that, but there is a 1200. Actually, sorry, yes I did know that. But basically Rosewill gave me this power supply in exchange for a lower end model I bought that I had a few issues with. So they were nice enough to send me an upgraded model to, you know, win me back, shall we say. So let's just take a look at what really comes in here. Nobody cares about a manual for a power supply. Starting off the bat, we're greeted with the power cord. Now, what I have to say right away, I know this is going to seem petty, but this is a very thick power cord. And that is important. As power supplies are getting bigger, pushing more amps and so on, this guy right here is your bread and butter going to the wall outlet. If you use a dinky one that you had lying around, and I've tried that before, and I notice some weird issues sometimes with a power supply because the power line cannot draw enough that the power supply is taking. So very important, very good to see that they put a proper, very heavy duty extension cord style power supply in here. Or power supply, power cord, sorry. Now next we are greeted with this bag. And we'll call it the bag of goodies. So right off the bat, I mean, not anything really crazy to talk about here. The Rosewill, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. Somebody's going to make fun of me in the video. Comment below. Nice little case. I mean, it's just a, you know, kind of a case you see pretty much in any computer modular box nowadays. Velcro. And we'll just put this over here like this. Right off the hop, I pulled out a video card cable. So video card cables, you'll know because it'll be like a 6+2 or a 6+1 or whatever, if you however you want to call it. And this, of course, can plug in one and give you 2 connectors for your video card. Next, I'm pulling out the motherboard power. So this is your basically your 4-pin connector, 4 to 4, I guess 8. Some zip ties, that's kind of neat. And here we go with another motherboard power cable. So you have your 8-phase power right here if you need to hook up 2 8s, which most X570 motherboards are doing now. And if you're running like a 5900X or a 5950, it gives you cleaner power. Okay, so we have 4 SATA connectors here off one connection, which is nice, not seeing any Molexes or anything on there, because if you're not going to use a Molex, why have it on the line? I like that. Here we have another video card cable, so now we already have 2. So that's 2 video cards for sure, using 2 8-pins. Here we are with another video card cable, so now we have 3. Here's our Molex, and again, here's something nice. Again, if I need Molex, this is just Molex and a floppy drive cable. So, I mean, if you're building an older system or whatever. But anyway, there's no SATA on here. So this is, you know, I specifically need some Molex, it's right here. That is awesome. And here we have 4 more SATA cables, so now a total of 8. And we have another video card cable. So we could easily run 4 video cards off this power supply according to cable management anyway. And then of course the braided, I like how companies do this now, the braided 24 pin for your motherboard. Quick recap, 24 pin, we have zip ties, we have 3 Molex and 1 floppy. We have a total of 8 SATA connections. Can power up any 8 port needed power board for any normal motherboard nowadays. And 4 video cards. Unless you're using an NVIDIA, which actually some AMDs as well may need 3 per card, and then you're down to 2. But anyway, the bottom line is you get 4 twin 8 cables, which is really, really nice to see in a modular system. And of course, let's not forget the very high-end power cable. Least we forget, I almost forgot there was actual screws to mount the power supply, which is pretty standard in any power supply, except for maybe budget or low end. They may not include it, but it is included. Now we are greeted with the PMG 1050 80 plus gold modular power supply. And as you can see here, so it's a 1050 watt total power, and you get your rail management here. So 3.3 volt at 22 amps, 5 volt at 22 amps, and you have a 12 volt rail at 87.5 amps. That's actually really, really impressive. And your minus 12 at 0.3 amps and plus 5 at 2.5 amps. So, I mean, it's definitely a power supply to work with. It isn't a budget power supply by any means. I believe this is around a $250 Canadian power supply. So it's, you know, a little up there, but not ridiculous in the grand scheme of power supplies. So here, of course, you just have your vented air output, your power cable plug-in, and your power switch. You're greeted with a 140 mil fan. Now, to me, that's important. Anything smaller than any good power supply these days is just not adequate. And I doubt too many manufacturers are going to do anything smaller than a 140 nowadays anyway. For what everybody wanted to see. So here we have our SATA and hard drive connections. So again, remember we had 2 of these can be used to have 8 SATA connections. It looks like you can add up on this because we only had 1 more cable that would have been the Molex. Your PCIe, so we have the 4 lanes for PCIe, and each one can output to 8 2.8 pins. So that's a lot of power capability for your video card. Whether the power supply is enough for certain cards out there, well, that's yet to be seen, and see what's going in the future. So then your main power, there's a sensor port here, and then your CPUs. So pretty quick rundown, but it has everything you need and what you don't need. So you don't plug in what you don't want, and that's what makes a fully modular power supply or a semi-modular power supply, because let's keep in mind, a semi-modular is not a bad thing to buy because you're automatically plugging in those important cables no matter what. There you have it. This is a quick overview of the Rosewill PMG 1050. It's a full modular power supply, 80 plus gold. It feels beautifully. There's a lot of nice weight to it for what it is. When I say, like, I mean, I'm not talking about, oh my god, this is really heavy, but it is definitely probably, actually, let's check that out. I actually thought it was heavier than that. It's actually 4 pounds. 4.6, 4 pounds. That's actually pretty decent for a power supply. I mean, you don't want it too heavy, of course, when you're building the computer. It's going to end up weighing, 50, 60 pounds. But you got a power supply here that weighs 4 pounds all on its own. And weight, to me, is important for one reason. And that is the pieces that are put in here, the components, your capacitors, the coil, everything. If that is cheap, the power supply is usually pretty light. And I know that they're getting more and more efficient nowadays, and that doesn't play as factor as it did, but my titanium is still it's still a good 5-pound power supply regardless. And I will be showing a dark power, like their new Elite 850, and I have a funny feeling it might weigh more than this, and I believe it's titanium as well. Anyways, as I said, it was a quick unboxing, let you know what you get when you get this power supply, and if this power supply is for you. Again, it's around, I guess, a $200 to $250 power supply. I'll try and put a link down to help anybody who's looking for it. And again, if the link is an affiliate, it helps the channel. I'm not 100% that it will be at this point, but if it is, it will help the channel. Or if you just want to buy anyway, I'm just helping you out find it much easier than necessary. So guys, until next time, I hope you enjoyed the overview of the PMG 1050 80 plus gold Rosewill power supply. Again, you can make fun of me in the comments below if I'm saying Roswell or Rosewill or Rosewill or whatever. Whatever. I never can say things right. Till next time, guys, game over.